Hello, welcome everybody. October 2022 meeting of the Oak Hills Park Authority. We're going to call to order, and I'll start with roll call for all the Oak Hills Park Authority members. You can just note your presence by saying here or I are present. I'll start with Alan Dutton,
Yeah.
Denise Brown,
Here.
Jennifer McAllister,
Here.
TJ Trimboli,
Here.
and Richard Dillinger.
Here.
Excellent. We also have present Jim Shell, the superintendent, Paul Alexander, the golf professional, and Mark Gartner, our controller. So without further ado, let's go into the agenda. The first thing on the agenda is acceptance of minutes from the September 19th special meeting. I had already sent comments via email, and Denise, I saw you sent comments via email. Nothing there that changes really the meaning or spirit of the conversation, really fixing typos, misspellings, and a couple of things that just kind of clarify what the conversation was. So I don't have anything else to add. But does anyone else have anything to add to those comments?
I have one quick thing to add, but I'm not sure if we don't mention the comments that you guys wrote in the email here, do they really get recorded anywhere?
Well, yes, you can send them back to Telesco, and they'll be recorded in the minutes of this meeting.
Okay. Then I'll just add one thing to that, and I don't need to say it now then, so we can move on.
Okay. Excellent. Any other additions, error corrections, etc.? Hearing none, can I solicit a motion to approve the minutes from the 9/19 meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
I guess we should say any objections? With a brand new authority member, I'm not exactly sure how to go, but Richard, I suppose we should abstain. So I'll say,
I was hoping you'd say that. Thank you.
so I'll say any objections? Hearing none. Any abstentions?
I'll abstain.
Okay, Richard Dellinger will abstain. And so those minutes shall pass with the edits that will be sent to Telesco. Okay, moving on, I believe the next thing on the agenda is public comment. So Mark, are you seeing anyone in the waiting room?
No, there's no other attendees.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Then with no other attendees, we'll bring public comment to a close, and that brings us to the report of the chair, who is me. So very briefly, just two things that I'd like to bring up are, number one, well, I should say to start, the operations and the finances of the park are in very good shape. That is a wonderful thing that I don't think we kind of say clearly enough and just that well pronounced enough. But they are. We'll go through the reports and we'll hear more about the operations and the finances, but they're in great shape. And I want to recognize that. And I want to recognize Paul, Jim, and Mark and their staff for making it so. Second is more of a governance sort of thing, which is that our bylaws are due for review and edit. And so as chair, I'd like to form a bylaws committee to go over those bylaws, bring them up to date. I believe the last time was 2016 or 2017. Bring them up to date for the new order of things that we operate in, such as Zoom meetings, and have them revised. And unless there are any other volunteers or any objections, I will take on the chair duties of that committee and kind of lead the charge with the edits. So I'll just ask any objections or any other volunteers or anyone who'd like to volunteer to join me on that endeavor.
I can help you, Joe. I can join.
All right, beautiful.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested, Joe, to help a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a huge heavy lift. A lot of it is boilerplate, and a lot of it, as I've read through it over the past couple of months, is still functional. But some of it does need updating. So, okay, that's great. Thank you for expressing interest. I'll bring you along for the ride. And the, I guess, third now thing that I'd like to mention is welcoming a new member to the authority, Richard Dellinger, who was appointed and approved earlier this month, I believe. And this is his first meeting. So instead of me reading through his resume, I thought I would just ask Richard to introduce himself.
Oh, well, thanks very much, Joe. So I know several of the people on the panel. I've worked with Paul and Jim, and of course Denise and Mark. So look, friendly faces. I've actually been a resident of Norwalk since 1990, so 32 years. I've played tennis at Oak Hills for about almost the whole time. In the last couple of years, I got very involved with someone you probably knew, Art Goldblatt, when we started a friends group of tennis at Oak Hills. So been very kind of much involved in that organization. And we have kind of a weekly newsletter that goes out, and we're trying to promote, tennis there, and also to try to improve the facility by raising funds there. Previously, I retired 2 years ago as a middle school principal in Amity Middle School in Bethany. And previously I was a principal in Westchester and Eastchester and Rye Brook, and then some overseas. So my background is mostly education administration. I'm happily retired though. And look forward to working with you all. I want to thank Denise for submitting my name as to be part of the board, and she's done an incredible job as a board member for the Oak Hills Tennis, and greatly appreciate her work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. And thank you, Denise. Okay, that's the end of my report. We can launch now into management reports, item number 5 on the agenda, and we'll start with Paul.
Okay, thank you. So I would say now that we're approaching the end of October, golf at Oak Hills now moves into the fall season. It's a beautiful season to play golf. And we're continuing to see fairly full tee sheets on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Some of the weekday mornings are busy, but the afternoons are getting slow due to the loss of light and the ability to play a full 18 holes after 2:30. But we expect golfers to continue coming during these nice days coming up for the next, up until Thanksgiving. During the last 30 days, we had 3 outings, which were very successful. September is a much better month for outings than August. And a large majority of our outings for 2022 have expressed interest in holding their date for the 2023 golf season here. We had finished our outings for the 22 season today. We have a great one coming next year, May 1, which we don't normally give that date out, but that'll be a Tunnel to Towers for 9/11 victim funds. And 2 of our biggest outings were Blind Rhino and O'Neill's Irish Pub. And they were so happy last year, they want to actually have another outing here. So we're going to find out if we give them 2 different dates, or we might try, which I'm not sure Oak Hills has done this in the past, but I do think we could do it, to do a double shotgun for these outings. Believe it or not, these 2 outings feel like they can bring in 250 people or more. And they really love Oak Hills, and they're locals, and they really want to be here. And recently we have completed all the men's and women's club championships here at the club, and all their golf events for the season. So we have no more tournament events for the women or the men. Recently we had our 4th annual junior club championship. It was attended by 40 junior golfers. We had lots of their parents come. We had awards, we had trophies, and we had a nice reception with food and drinks at Smokin' Aces restaurant. And Don was kind enough to donate that all to the junior golfers, and we were thankful for that. Our junior golf schools and clinics are all over for the year, and our on-course programs have been more popular than ever before. So we're really seeing a lot of junior golfers playing golf at Oak Hills, and they're bringing their families. And golf pros, we love to play golf, but one of our biggest duties in the game is to grow the game of golf. We need to keep bringing people to the golf course to keep the facility healthy. Brian McMahon High School and Norwalk High School golf teams are about a week away from competing their seasons. Interesting, they moved their schedule from the spring to the fall, and they play here 4 days a week. They practice, they play a lot. We've been really accommodating to them, and it's very good for Oak Hills for numerous reasons, but it was difficult in the spring. Everybody wants to come out and play golf. Our tee sheets are packed. It was really hard. It was actually a little bit of a financial loss when we kind of give them all those tee times in the spring, but in the fall, it's not quite so busy for us. So moving their schedule to the fall was great for Oak Hills, and it's really good for the golf teams there. Our new tee sheet and PO system this year has been working pretty well with Golf Now. They've really helped tremendously. We'll have some good numbers on how much traffic they've driven to Oak Hills from all over Fairfield County in the north, Westchester County, the 5 boroughs of New York. And we're seeing golfers come from 50 miles away, parts of Long Island, Staten Island. So Golf Now has helped, but our course is in great shape. The people love the greens, and I think a lot of people are talking and they're showing up here. I think we did have a few glitches with Golf Now this year, but I think they'll iron some things out over the winter, and we'll all be more familiar with it. So I only see good things happening for 2023 as far as that goes. We have 68 carts. They're all in great shape. Club car was really good this year. We did have a few issues with some defective parts, but our tech was here every week. So I was really happy with Club Car. It's the second year of our contract with them. And our golf shop now, we're having a nice October sale. So we're really trying to get rid of all the merchandise now so we can make room for new merchandise for next year. We have one of our staff members who's going to help us do some lighting in here, which always makes a big difference. We have a lot of lights out, but I think he's really going to help us with that. So at the moment, we have 23 people on our golf staff, down from a high of mid 30s in the peak summer. So you can see the season slowing down. Again, we hired 20 new people this year, and I anticipate, every year we got to hire more people because people just move on, go to get jobs and things like that, or get a little older. But things are running smoothly, and we really do have a good team here. Our staff loves working at Oak Hills. We did have a really nice staff golf event here at Oak Hills, and we had a nice dinner at Ishota Yacht Club on October 6th. But unfortunately, half our staff came down with COVID at that mini spreader event, including myself. Never thought I was going to get it, but it knocked us out for a little while. And I definitely want to thank our authority member, Jerry Crowley, for really stepping up and working every day till we all got a little better. And even one of our cart staff guys, we've kind of moved him into the golf shop now. So they were really helpful because we had the whole golf shop staff out. So during the next 30 days, as we slide a little deeper into the golf season, as far as fall golf goes, the temperatures drop into the 40s. We're going to definitely see a lot less golfers playing golf at Oak Hills during a really nice time of year. But that's par for the course. I think and hope our newly renovated golf, the paths for our golf carts will help some of the play and some revenue for carts. But it should be a great remaining rest of the season. And overall, it's just been another great successful year. My third year here as the head pro, and COVID's helped a lot, but things are really looking good for Oak Hills. There's one thing I would like to talk about, and maybe you could discuss amongst yourself, but I've been here 11 years, and this is the time of year where we're getting frost delays. And for the last 11 years, I've seen people standing around in the pavement outside because they're not allowed to walk on the grass. They stand in the golf shop. It's not uncommon to have 20 people in here. They're sitting in their cars waiting for the frost delay to be lifted. A lot of the golfers are going to one of 3 diners right down the street, or unfortunately, we're losing people. They're going home and we're losing them. They're not playing any golf here. So I think it would be really in our best benefit if we could open up that restaurant in the morning and just serve some coffee, serve simple breakfast sandwiches. I know one of our chefs would be more than happy to do that. Typically, when we have a frost delay, one of our people come in for the halfway house, but there's no need for them to get up there that early. So, they can help out. I think that's something we should discuss because it would be good for Oak Hills financially. It would be good for our golfers and just having that brand new beautiful restaurant, which I was just in now. I'd like, it'd be great if we could make use of it. Other than that, it's about it for me. If anyone has any questions, I'd be glad to answer anything if you like.
Thank you for the report, Paul, and thank you for that recommendation. We will take it under consideration.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Paul? Okay, thanks again, Paul.
Thank you.
Moving on to 5B, the superintendent report with Jim.
Okay. So all's well with the course. We finished up greens aeration. Thanks to the hard work of the crew. We were able to get out of here at reasonable times, 5:30. Ordinarily, we're quitting now about then we were quitting about 3:15 on a daily basis. So we only had, 4.5 hours of overtime over the 2 days for each guy. So that's good. The timing couldn't have been better when we finished because the next day we got a whole bunch of rain, and that really helps to wash the sand into the greens and speeds up the recovery process so that conditions can get back to normal very soon. Right about now, we're starting to maintain the greens in the morning. Due to the sand, we can't do certain things. We can't cut them. We can't roll them first thing in the morning, and it makes for pretty terrible conditions. But right now we're there. We just got there today after last night's rain. So we're going to start turning some of our attention to some small projects, maybe a drainage line here, a bunker removal there. Maybe we'll start on the driving range tee, try to get a concrete pad in the front of the grass tee for Paul, so he can hold clinics the full width of the tee without beating up the small sized grass tee that we have there. And yeah, frost delays, they're going to become more common now, although the next week or so looks pretty good. We might have 1 or 2 days here coming up soon, but they'll really accelerate into the fall, and they will accelerate actually leaf fall, which has started. So we've demoed a greens mower. It's kind of new to the States. There's definitely a bunch of people that have them, but it is a Japanese mower. They've been making it for decades. It just hasn't made its way to the United States because there are 3 companies that have a lock on the market here, or in the past have had the lock. And their prices have gone through the roof. And it forced me to look at this mower. And it performed quite well for the 1 day that we had it. I wish I had had it for 3-4 days. But we don't, by looking at the machine, it's a solid machine. They've done a lot of things right that we can tell just by looking at it. And it's Japanese, so it's going to be reliable. The concerns are availability of parts and general quality of cut. I've gotten references for superintendents that have bought them in the Northeast, and I will be calling them this week. So while I did get prices for Toro, for John Deere, I didn't bother with Jacobson because I just won't go there. Those are the big 3 companies that offer greens mowers. And Jacobson has, in the last 20 years, declined to, I couldn't even put a word on how to describe their service and equipment, so I won't. But their prices have seriously jumped, and this mower, it's a viable option, and it's $11,000 less than the others at a minimum. Now, I know I sent out the actual quote this afternoon. And yeah, it is over $10,000 more than was anticipated to spend on the commercial debt schedule. We had planned on 66. I was accounting for some inflation there, but you know, COVID inflation is totally different than what we have, what we were expecting. I don't have to get a vote right now, but just remember that these are greens mowers. We want the top technology on the greens, and we want reliability on the greens, because that is the bread and butter of our business. Okay, on another note, the
Tim,
weather station.
couple quick questions. How many are you
Sure.
looking to get? One,
Two.
two, right? Are they 66 grand each or 30?
No, that we had planned for 66 for two.
Okay,
Right now, the price for two is 76, almost $500.
okay. It's going from 33 to 38 then, basically, right? So it's like a 12% increase.
Yeah.
And on
And-
these
and-
guys, secondly,
Sorry?
on these other superintendents, do you know any of them?
No,
are
I
these
don't.
all- Okay. Okay.
But I'll still be calling them. I mean, I'll ask the right questions.
Okay, because that's more important to me is if what these guys think, because they're the guys that use them. Okay, and
Yeah.
hopefully some of them had them for a period of time as well. You know,
Right.
and they
Right.
broke it down and how did they get the parts?
Well,
and stuff.
let's
Right.
not forget that I mean, when I say decades, I think that this company's been around for 70 or 80 years in Japan.
Okay, okay,
So I mean, if you take the amount of time that they take to study things that they make, and
right,
I just it gives, and when you look at the machine, I mean, it's about as simple as it gets. Everything is right where it needs to be,
okay,
and
okay.
just, on another note, the weather station I was going to purchase has been discontinued. The last one was sold since I got approval. It's a par for the course, so to speak. But I'm not even going to talk about the option. I think I'm just going to pursue repairing this one and going through the trouble that it's going to give me throughout the rest of its life. I have purchased 10 trees. They're in the ground. This was done to follow my replanting plan, which supposedly is going to allow me to make some tree removals that are critical to the agronomy of the golf course. They are all bird and bee friendly. They have good fall color. Some of them will have flowers in the spring, berries in the fall, and they're in locations that will not be detrimental to fine turf growth. They're juvenile now, meaning they're small, less expensive. But when they are full grown, you'll get the feeling more of an arboretum in some spots than a golf course. So last week I sent out an email with the request, the 10 trees are in the ground. Can you help me proceed with my removal plan so that I can get some grass in some places that I don't have grass? And I haven't heard back. This is just typical of the parties that are responsible for that at the city. It happens every time I ask. I get the runaround, I get the avoidance and the no response, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do there. Maybe I just start cutting. I'm not gonna do that, but that's what I wanted to do. The new boiler is in the old pro shop. And as of today, it is fully up and running. We had a leak in one of the zones, but that was rerouted today. And now we have heat in there. We're ready for renovations slash hitting bays or simulators, rather.
Mhm.
Hey, Jim?
And yeah,
Are we gonna see additional invoices come in for the additional work that they did on
Today's-
top?
today's work, it's gonna fall under general building maintenance, and it was about $1,600,
Thank you.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
That concludes my report. If anybody's got any questions, feel free.
I think two things, maybe three things, Jim.
Yeah.
If there's appetite later in the evening under new business, I think maybe we add a brief discussion about the mowers.
Okay,
We may be able to do a provisional approval. We'll see. So let's just see if we want to discuss that. I think we can just go to email on the weather station. I just want to understand your rationale a little bit better there. And in terms of the trees, let me take a shot. Maybe sometimes just seeing a different name attached to the subject line will induce people to respond. So I'll just piggyback on your email and see if I can elicit a response.
I copied you on that, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's a really thoughtful approach, and it's commendable to say, no. Instead of taking out trees and then putting new ones in, let's put the new ones in first, and then remove the ones where we don't want any trees. I think
Right.
it's a very logical way to do it, and it's very ecologically friendly.
Don't forget when you talk to them that this deal that I thought we had, but no one ever responded to me whether we had it or not, was before the new ordinance was passed, where if you cut a 40-inch tree, then you have to plant 10 trees 4 inches thick at the trunk. So apparently I was led to believe that my removal list and my replacement list would offset each other. So when you speak to
Sure.
them and they say, well, that's not the ordinance, you need to replace with 50 trees of that size. Well, we can't do that. We don't have the money.
Yeah. It all starts with a response. So let's
Yeah.
let's try to get that. Okay. Any other thoughts or questions on Jim's report?
Jim, thank you for planting some of those trees at the tennis site.
Of course,
They, they look good.
they're a little small, but they'll get there.
They're baby trees right now, but they'll be,
Yeah.
they'll grow up.
I'd like to say really good job with our greens aeration. I mean, it's only been 2 weeks. I was out there today and the greens are great. Normally it takes 3. So people are really happy about that. It's going to help with play.
The spring is always really difficult, and I have some good news. I got some soil testing reports back just before we aerated. I did some soil testing for chemistry and organic matter and the like. And the spring aeration with the sand is always the toughest one to get through because I'm doing certain things to the green that keep them from growing. But this spring, according to the results of the report, I will not have to add sand. So they will recover far quicker. There will be no real downtime this coming spring. So,
And one question I had is, boy, I saw a lot of work on the Great Lawn out there.
oh God,
So maybe tell us a little bit about that.
that was, I think, thanks for bringing that up because I was thinking about mentioning it, and the nature committee, whatever it's called, they wanted to do this thing up there, and whatever, I'm agreeable. I won't use pesticides. I'll do whatever they want to do. And I did. And my God, we paid for it. I had 2-3 guys up there for 3 days cutting this area down because it ended up as only weeds. If we're going to allow or I don't want to say allow because it sounds like we're trying to be controlling and we're not, but my God, I'm losing a lot of time at the end of the season right now during leaf season. We're trying to get our natural areas cut down. We got a lot of stuff going on still. I had to send guys up there for a long time to get that cut down. And I think that if they want to do this, they have to make a commitment with volunteerism or whatever to try and head off the weeds before they start. They're all enthusiastic about it, but yet it ended up a disaster. It's something that should be mentioned, and
Hey,
I don't
Jim,
know.
we could talk about this offline, but I spoke with Audrey about it today, and we do have a plan. So we'll get together with you via email and so forth.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Good. That's it for me.
Excellent. Last management report, we have the controller, Mark Gardner.
Well, I don't have much to add to the commentaries that I already provided in the agenda and the financial package. As Joe and Paul already alluded to, things are good here at Oak Hills Park. The month of September was great. Our first quarter, which is the period of July 1 through September 30th, was great. Our bank balance is great. So we're off to a fantastic start for our fiscal year. The only issue that Al and I were discussing just a little while ago is the restaurant rent that's in arrears. There is still some amount owed to us from the end of fiscal year 22, and then the full amount for the first quarter of this year as well. So just wanted to bring that up.
That ends the end of September, is the end of the first quarter, right? So, Mark?
Yeah, July 1 through September 30.
Okay.
And I know I skipped through it just to make up some time here, but if anybody has questions on the financial package or any of my commentary that was included, please just ask away.
Looks
I
good
mean,
to me.
It's really great that we're 30 over budget. I mean, that's like a really positive going into
Yep.
the season now, to the end of the season.
And for me to have rounds that are beating both prior year and budget, there's nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
Sure.
Going into agenda item number 6, which is committee reports. We can start off, Denise, with you on the tennis committee.
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to say, welcome to Rich again, just because I'm very pleased that you've been able to come on to the board and support us all, and especially with the tennis side of everything, because you've been a very avid supporter. You're great with communications. You've been keeping the Friends of Tennis group very well informed of everything that's going on. So, I really appreciate that. So I think that going forward, and also helping to raise money for whatever project that we have, on the table at the time. So I want to thank you for that, and I'm glad to see you that you're here. And I think I mentioned last time that we were going to receive a donation from an anonymous donor from around $7,500. So that's in the works. I don't think it's come through yet, but I believe that it's, within a month. I think we should be receiving it. Mark, I'm not sure if it's coming directly to you, or Rich, I don't know if it's coming to you, because I think the last one came to you. And
It may have, yeah.
may have. So that is, that is in the mail from what we were told. So that'll be a great donation. And we're kind of using that as a match. We put it out to our tennis friends that we would like to try to match that $7,500. And we're doing different events to, help support it. We've had donations come in. I'm going to work with Rich this week to kind of total up our donations. I think we're kind of heading, I think we have around $1,000 as a match so far, but I'm not quite sure. It's kind of coming in as we speak. Like every week there's something going on that brings in more money. And this Sunday we have a ladies tournament that's been organized by one of the ladies from the tennis group. We had it scheduled for last Sunday. Due to the rain, we pushed it through to the following Sunday. And I looked at the weather and we're supposed to have rain again. So I just have my fingers crossed that it's going to come off. And there's probably going to be about maybe 24 to 28 or 30 participants, depending on if they come through as doubles or singles. And, it's just going to be a fun tournament. Everybody's going to bring things to enjoy afterwards, some, treats and stuff like that. So that's one of the things that's going on. And the clinics are going very well. The youth clinics are coming to an end. They'll be ending in about a week or two. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. A lot of the parents have asked me to see what I could do about continuing it in the winter, which would mean that I have to find an indoor facility, which is definitely a problem because of the cost effectiveness of, paying for the rent, because obviously here at Oak Hills, we don't have to charge them for rent. We don't have to worry about the rent. So I don't know if anybody knows of this place. I think it was a school, and now I think it's just kind of a community place that's when you're going down Flax Hill Road towards South Norwalk, there's a brick school. It's on the left-hand side, and it's fairly close down to the end of Flax Hill. And I know that they used to have all sorts of programs there. Like they would take in basketball programs. I took a tennis program there, and in their gym, they have a net. So if anybody knows anything about that building or how I would find out and who I would go to, I don't know if I'd go to the Board of Ed or where into the city to kind of look into that. And so if
Sure.
anybody knows anything,
You might want to call the city of Norwalk and speak to Alan Lowe.
And who is Alan Lowe?
Alan Lowe is land use and building management. I think if the building you're describing, I think maybe the old Ben Franklin. I don't know.
It's Ben Franklin School
Ben
and
Franklin?
Parks and yeah, it's Ben Franklin School. It's not used as a school anymore. And Parks and Rec is in charge of that gymnasium.
Oh, okay.
Parks and
Yeah.
Rec? is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. My son used to play basketball there years and years ago. I remember.
yeah. So, I mean, it's just a shot in the dark, but, I know if I go to any of the indoor facilities, that if I could even get space, they would charge me way too much money, and then I'd have to pass it on to the kids. So, but they're all aware that, that I'd be looking and see, I'll try to find the best thing that I can if I can even find something at all. So, but it's really nice to know that the feedback is positive and they've enjoyed the program with the pro Willie. And I've also brought in Chris Mayotte, who is, I've become, friends with him. He's a retired ATP pro, and he's back in Norwalk. I think I mentioned him last time, but he's very enthusiastic. We started a cardio clinic on Saturday mornings, and we built it up so far for the past 2 weeks. The women that are coming are really interested in it. So we'll continue that as long as the nets are up, which I think hopefully till Thanksgiving, weather permitting, or, Jim, you don't have to take them down anytime soon. So one less thing off of your plate at the moment. So
No worries.
yeah, so we will continue that as long as we can. The drop-in's still being held on the weekend, so people are coming to that and they're having fun. And so we're just trying to keep the courts active as best we can through the season. And it's been working out. So we've had a lot of positive feedback. Mark, I just thank you very much for putting together the spreadsheet for me for the donations list. I really appreciate that. Like I said, I'll get together with Rich and we'll kind of fill in the blanks. I do have more deposits for you, so we'll get you those too. And I think you mentioned that you had a PayPal donation of about $450. Do you know any more about that donation?
I'm gonna ask us to take that conversation offline, please. This is getting very operational.
Okay. Okay, well, I mean, basically, that is my report for the moment.
Thank you. I apologize for interrupting. And if anyone has any questions for Denise, unless they're pressing and pertinent to the entire group, I'll ask to follow up via email or directly. But if they are pressing or pertinent to the entire group, we can go through them now. Okay. Thank you, Denise. Next on the list is the restaurant committee, chaired by Alan.
The restaurant committee has not met. All two of us at the moment. Hopefully, as we expand our committee, we can add some more people to it. I did send on a communication 2 or 3 weeks ago from the authority, and that will be discussed, I think, in executive committee. We have not heard back, but that will be discussed in the executive committee, private session. Over the next couple of months, I'm going to be in what we call fact-finding mode, where I would like to be reaching out to the members and the players of tennis and of golf to find out what would they like for a restaurant, doing a survey. So that, I think, is going to be my primary task, and hopefully we'll have a meeting prior to the next Oak Hills meeting. That's it.
Excellent. Thank you. Going to move on. I don't see Jerry Crowley here, so I don't know if we have a report from supporters of Oak Hills Park.
No, there's no update from Jerry or the supporters.
Okay, excellent. And I understand, Mark, that you have a written narrative from Audrey on the Nature Advisory Committee. So would you like to file that, or would you like to read it? How would you like to proceed?
I can read that right now. Regarding the meadow area cleared of mugwort by Anthony Hilton and crew. Anthony's recommendation for spring is to bulldoze the entire area and replant.
Sorry.
All three Audubon birdhouses installed in the spring were inhabited, and the plan will be to clear the debris for use in the spring of 2023. Many wild animal sightings, which is shows a very healthy ecosystem. Regarding the woodlands, there was graffiti on a tree, and the graffiti removal process is continuing. Trail cleanup has begun with more in the next week or two, just trying to clearly define the trails that are there. And then safety at the entry/exit points still needed. That's for further discussion. The fountain garden, Anthony's recommendation for spring is to move the native plants to the meadow area, plant new flowers to create a more formal garden aesthetic. And lastly, the nature center in general, seeking formal protective status for the nature center acres. Interest from Norwalk Land Trust to assume conservation easement, and seeking more regular communication and understanding between the OHPA management and the Nature Advisory Committee. And that concludes Audrey's report. She had a prior engagement for tonight.
Thank you, Jim.
Mark?
Sorry, I just noticed Jim went off video, so he was on my mind. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Audrey. Getting off of committee reports and going into old business, new business, there is one piece of new business. Why don't we take that first, the item A, and then determine whether we want to go into a discussion on mowers, considering the time. But the proposal that we have is regarding a in memoriam dedication of the patio that was recently built in the tennis area. I'll let Denise take the, so to speak, microphone and kind of introduce this idea. But I think, just let's follow the proper process. So can I get a motion to discuss this proposal from one of the OHPA members?
So moved.
All right, any second? I'll second.
I second.
Let's go on with the discussion. So Denise, would you introduce the topic and then we can discuss?
Yeah, well, I had spoken about it in the past. So now that we did finally were able to complete the patio, the intention was always for it to be a dedication to Art Goldblatt. That was kind of the whole movement behind it, and everybody was in agreement with it. What we thought we would do is, I guess, present it to the people, the right people at the Common Council, whoever need be, and we would like to name it Arthur's Court. So I guess we need to have an approval for that. We would also like to tie the dedication to our spring fundraising kickoff dinner, which we would do sometime in May. So, I mean, we do have a little time to make this happen, but that's the whole purpose of having a dedication to art, naming it Arthur's Court, and then combining it with our spring fundraising dinner. Basically, that's it, to, you know, have it part of the Oak Hills Tennis Center.
I'll just follow up saying I wholeheartedly support this. It's very easy to find. If anybody's not familiar with Art Goldblatt, it's very easy to find with a very quick Google search testaments to how much he did for Norwalk, for tennis in Norwalk and at Oak Hills. And, you know, just more globally around Norwalk.
Yeah, and grassroots, he was extremely, you know, one of the starters and created the whole movement for grassroots and brought a lot of people in, and it's a very successful program.
Yes.
So.
And so with that, I'm happy to help ferry it through the process. The process, just for everybody's information, would be to start with the land use committee of the Common Council. There is a city regulation for naming things, for dedicating things in memoriam. And I think Art passed a year ago in October. And one of the main things is the person has to have passed away over a year ago. So we're right. This is the time when we would start the process. They wouldn't even consider something before then. So this is the time, and the timing works quite nicely with a spring dedication, because this will take a little bit of time to go through committee, to go through the council more broadly, and then to organize an event that it gives it the due fanfare that it deserves. So with that in mind, you know, happy to hear from anyone else who would like to discuss or ask questions.
Is there an actual memorial type stone or something, or you know, we're going to call it Arthur's Court, right? Does anything happen to say that that's what it is? Is there a stone or anything? Just asking the question,
Well,
or just be
I
known
think
as.
that is something that we need to kind of look at and focus on and try to put together. So we would actually have a stone, you know, with his name on it. I don't know if we would have a plaque with his date on it, or if it would just be a memorial stone with his name on it and the name of the court. Not quite sure.
Have a nice round table and call it King Arthur's Court, you know?
A round stone, you mean?
Call it King Arthur's Court.
Yeah, I mean, we could take off on that idea for sure. So it's still in the, no, but I mean, it's all a suggestion that would be something we could look into. I mean, we would need a plaque, yes.
Yeah, okay, good.
And this is what some of the lead time will be used for, to determine what the best approach to the dedication would be.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? With none, I'll ask, let's do a individual roll call vote for this. So on the motion of pursuing with the city, dedicating the tennis patio to the memory of Art Goldblatt, Alan Dutton, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Rich Dellinger.
Aye.
Denise Brown.
Aye.
Jennifer McAllister.
Absolutely. Aye.
TJ Trimboli.
Aye.
And Joe Androsco, aye. So it's unanimous. We approve. Denise, I will work with you to bring that through the process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's go through the formal process to see if we want to discuss mowers. Do we have a motion to discuss the incremental expense for purchasing mowers? Incremental to what was approved in the debt budget for this year. All right, if we can't get a motion, we can't get a second. Jim, I'll follow up with a couple of questions.
Sure.
All right. I in the email that you sent earlier today, I noticed, you know what? I'll follow up with a couple of questions.
Yeah, I haven't had a
Good.
chance. Yeah, I didn't
Good.
get to read through the whole email, so I don't have all my ducks in a row. So I just want to get better prepared.
Okay, we'll discuss and come back with how we're going to proceed. Okay. With that, our next item is number 8, which is to move into executive session for the 2 agenda items there. We should be away for a little while, not too long, because I know, Mark, you have to stick around to bring us back into public session. So I am hoping to keep it around 20 minutes, maybe as much as 30, but around 20. So can I get, we have to do this by the book. So can I get a motion to close the public session and go into executive session?
So moved.
Motion, second.
Yeah.
Okay, Denise can second. And any objections?
I just have a question. Can we go into it earlier than 8 o'clock when it's scheduled at 8? We can? Thank you.
Yeah,
I already
those
have it
times are
on.
just a suggestion.
Okay.
Okay, hearing no objections, we can go in. Paul, Jim, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sharon,
Night.
also thank you. And Mark, we'll see you in a minute.
So I just wanted to say something to Rich, just so he knows that he has to go in, log out of here, go into the executive, and then come back into this one. Wasn't sure if you
Good
were
point.
quite aware of the procedure.
Yeah, I didn't read him on that procedure.
Okay,
Okay.
you're on mute.
We have
There you go.
everybody back from executive session. There was nothing that required a vote coming out of executive session, but for discussion, thank you, everyone. And the only thing left to do is to adjourn. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Alan Dutton and seconded by Richard. Any objections? Hearing none. Have a good evening, everybody.
Good.
Thank you.
Have a good night,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Guys, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.